Hello everyone, my name is Rishi Nalem. In today's video, we're going to be creating a Narrative Navigator program. So for this, we're just going to be choosing a text and breaking into vectorized chunks so that we can ask it any question that we have about the plotline. So before we start programming, we need to first choose out a text that we're going to be using for our program. Here I am on the site gutenberg.org. So I'm going to put this in the link in the description below. And if you scroll down, you can see a bunch of texts. For our program today, I'm just going to be using Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. So once you click on this, we need to first find our .txt file. So then we scroll down to more files. So as you can see, it does take time to load here, and then we click on 11-0.txt. After this, you just select everything in this .txt file and move back to our program. So first, we're going to be, in order to use our .txt file, we're going to create a folder called data, and in this, we're just going to create a file called alicebook.txt, and in this .txt file, we just paste our text that we have copy pasted from gutenberg.org. So now we're going to be moving on to our source file where we start our Python programming. So in order to create our source file, first we just click on the folder option and we type in src. Now in this folder, we're going to have two files. The first file is going to be our .env file where we store our API key, and the second one is just going to be called alice.py where we're going to be programming our text summarizer. So now once you're done with this, we're going to start off with our .env file where we're just going to be copy pasting our OpenAI API key. And if you want to learn more about this, check out my first video about creating a chatbot program. Now we're going to be saving this and moving on to our alice.py program. So for this, we need a bunch of import statements. I'm going to be pasting it here just to save time. So first, we're going to be importing OS, which is going to help us, for our initializing our environment. Then we're going to be doing import async.io, which helps us with asynchronous programming. Then we do import Chainlit, which helps us basically create a chatbot program. And then we're going to be using Langchain prompts so that we can initialize OpenAI as well as their prompt templates. Finally, we're just going to include ChromaDB, and so that we can have our use Chrome as well as .env so that we can use our .env file, which includes our API key. Now once you're done with this, we're going to be start initializing our API key as well as using our chat models. So this is also, you can find in my first video about creating a chatbot program. And for this, we need to first load our .env file. And as you can see, it's just .env over here. Then after this, we're going to be using our database directory, which is just .db. And then after this, we're going to be using our large language model name, which is the text DaVinci 003. This is just basically what's going to be doing all our computational work for our program. Next, we're going to be using the embedding model name as text embedding ada002, which is going to be doing our text summarization. And finally, we're going to be gathering our OpenAI key from our os.environment. Now, once you're done with this, we're going to include our prompt template. So basically what a prompt template is that it is a guideline that our program should follow so that whenever it creates a response for us, it does not give us false information. So in this case, our prompt template is that in 3 quotes, just make sure that you include, "You're a helpful assistant that truthfully responds to a user's query about the book Alice in Wonderland." And then it just inputs your user's query. And in this, if you don't know the answer, just simply answer, "I don't know." And most importantly, do not respond with false information. Now, once you're done with the prompt template, now we're going to be working on our prompts as well as how our program responds to the user. So in order to do this, first, we just initialize a variable called prompt, and in this, we're going to be using our prompt template module, and this is going to be taking our input variables, and in our input variable, we're just going to have in square brackets our query, and we're also going to have our template, which is going to be our prompt template. Now once we're done with this, now we're going to be working on our chainlit response. So on chainlit message, we're going to be starting with our function, which is def. So like in our function, we're going to have a main one, and in this it's going to include our parameter, which is our main. And in this parameter, we're going to have a retriever. So we're going to be retrieving the data as none for now. And then after this, we're going to be including our text embeddings, which is going to be doing the summarizing for our program. So I'm going to be including embeddings is equal to OpenAI embeddings. And in this, we're going to have to fulfill the parameters, which is going to be OpenAI API key. And then this is just going to be equal to our os.environment. And in this, it's just going to be our, in all capitals, make sure that you include OpenAI API key. So our next parameter is just going to be our model. And for this, we're going to be including our embedding model. So again, in capitals, it's just going to be our embedding model name. After this, we're going to be doing a if-else statement, which just looks for like the data path that we're going to be using. So first, we're going to be if not os.path.exists, and then we're just going to be looking for a db directory. Then we're going to include a loader, which uses directory loader, and then it goes to our path. It's going to search through our path of our data. And then it also makes sure that it looks through our global. And in this, we just need to have our text file. So now once you're done with this, we're going to be docs. So we're going to be loading our document. So it's going to be docs is equal to loader.load. Then after this, we're going to have text chunks. So basically what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be chunking our paragraphs, basically our story, into multiple vectors, so that it is easier for a program to understand, and so that whenever we ask a question, it'll be easier for the program to give us a response. So in order to vectorize our story into multiple chunks, we're just going to be doing character split text splitter, and then each chunk size is just going to be including 400 characters. And in this, we're going to have our chunk overlap with each other, and then we're going to make sure that this is equal to 20. And then the next parameter we're going to have is just that we're going to be splitting the documents, and then we're going to be documents, and then that's going to be equal to our docs. So now once you're done with this, we're just going to be using our vectordb, so vector database. And then that's just going to be equal to our chroma dot from document. We're going to be using text chunks. We're going to be using embeddings as well as our directory. Oops. So we're going to be using ./db. Now once you're done with this, we're going to have our else statement, where we're just going to be using our vectordb. And then for this, we're going to be using chroma. So it's again going to be persist directory, and then that's going to be equal to our database directory. And another parameter is just embedding function, and then that's going to be equal to our embeddings. Now we're going to be retrieving the data from our vector database. So in order to do this, we're just going to be including retriever, which is equal to our vectordb. So let me move this up a bit. So it's going to be vectordb as retriever, and in this we're just going to have our search type, and then that's going to be equal to our MMR. After this, we're going to have our QA, and then that's going to be using our retrieval QA function from chain underscore type. And in this, we're going to have our large language model is going to be OpenAI, and then the model that we're going to be using is that it's just going to be our LLM model name. And then make sure that the temperature that you set is equal to 0.0. So as I've explained in the video before, temperature is just basically how harsh you want the responses from the OpenAI program. So the lower the number, which is 0, the more nicer the responses are going to be. So then after this, we're just going to be using our chain type, and then this is going to be equal to stuff. And then after this, we're going to have a retriever. That's going to be equal to our retriever. And finally, we're going to return our source documents, and that's just going to be equal to true. Now we're going to do a series of try except methods, so that whenever the user sends a query, we can make sure that we give truthful answers, and if not, we just ask them to give another question. So first we're going to do try, and in this the answer is going to be equal to QA, and in this it's going to be equal to query. Make sure that you have these in quotation marks. Now once you're done with this, this is going to be equal to our query. After this, we're going to have a response. So our response is going to be a formatted string, where our answer is just going to be the result. And then we're going to give a result in a new line, so new line. And after this, we're going to be using a for loop, so for doc in answer source documents, we're just going to be looping through the tabbed content dot replace, and in this we're just going through every new line, and then this dot comma empty string. Now once you're done with this, we're just going to add on to our response that we gave to the user, and this is then again going to be a formatted string, which is in a new line. We're just going to have new line slash t, and in this we're going to have docs dot metadata, and that is going to be our source. Now once we're done with this, that is going to be set as our tabbed content, and then our tabbed content in square brackets is just going to be 60. Now once you're done with this, we're going to have our accept method. So it's accept exception as e, and for this we're going to have a response as, so once it fails to run through our try method, then we're going to be using our exception, which means that it doesn't know the answer to the user's response. So this is then again going to be a formatted string, where we just say, I don't know, please ask another question, and then this is going to be e. After this, we're going to be doing our async.run, and we're going to be chainlit on message, and then our message is just going to be including our response, and we're going to be sending it to the user. And finally, we're just going to, so on the start of the program, we're going to be sending a message to the user so that they actually know what they're going to be doing in the program. So it's just going to be chainlit on chat start. We're going to have another function called start, And in this function, we're just going to have the asyncio. So async IO, asynchronous programming, we're just going to be running a message which just includes the content of ask me anything about Alice's adventure in Wonderland. Now once you have this, we're just going to be sending this to the user. So once you're done with our program, we can run it over here. So in order to run the program, first make sure that if you're not in the src directory, all you need to do is that cd src, and then after this, we just do chainlit run alice.py. And now it's going to be creating our localhost program. And I'm just going to bring my localhost from another window I have over here. So let me increase the screen. And then now we can just ask it any question about Alice in Wonderland. So in order to test our program, the question that we're going to be asking is, how did Alice end up falling down the rabbit hole, and how long was her fall? So when you enter this, as you can see over here on the terminal, you can see that it uses our vectorized, it vectorizes our database, and then it runs through our program over here, separating into chunks, and it gives us the response that Alice fell down a rabbit hole after she followed a white rabbit who was wearing a waistcoat and carrying a pocket watch. She fell for a very long time, but it's not clear exactly how long. Thank you guys for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.